Hello, 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 hello. I'm Patch. Welcome to the stream. I'm gonna be doing some more drawing today. The last art stream that I did, I started drawing Chandelure as a big old robot, and we're gonna be continuing that today. I actually I mentioned that I might, and I did. I worked on it a little bit while I was away, just kind of finalizing the design a touch. And I'm glad I did, because now I can kind of jump straight into line art and that kind of thing, and working on the background. But I'll show you what I've got at the moment. I'm very excited. Ta-da! Yeah, look at this guy. He's a big old robot. I also yeah, had a bit of a play. I'll see if I can bring an image up. This is going to be Chandelure. Nope, this one is Chandelure, but I'm going to change it. Give me a second. I'm going to bring up a picture of, I specifically chose, I think it's Icarus City. Whoa, tiny map. But this is the town I'm using as reference for the city below. Because I think... What did I pick? I picked it because I think it's the first game that Chandelure shows up in, and I think this is a town close to where you can first find Litwick. But I also just picked this one because I kind of like the layout of it. I don't know if you could you see my mouse on the screen here? You can, yeah, you can kind of see the pen. I've got to put my drawing glove on. In case you didn't know, there's a special glove you wear when you're doing digital drawing, so you don't get all your nasty oily hand oil over the screen. Anyway, so you can see there's the poker center down here, and then the bridge, and then there's this other little bridge going that way, and we're from the perspective of, like, we're standing in front of the windmill that's down in at the very bottom of the screen. And my idea is I'm going to have some of these buildings on fire, and there's forest in the background. You can see these mountains and big smoke, all kind of framing the giant Chandelure, which is going to be shooting these big old eye beams down onto everything. But I think that's it. I think I need to shuffle it a little bit, because I think this needs to be in the center more. So I might have a bit of a play with that while we get started. And I think maybe the background needs to be squashed a little bit more, just for the sake of the perspective. But that's where I'm at the moment. I will also note that I had just had 3 very full days of work, and as a result, my voice is almost gone because I was talking the whole time. And I ran D&D, and I had my last week of TAFE before that, and I've just been speaking the whole time, and you could probably hear my voice is going a bit. I've just had like a lozenge and I've made myself a green tea with honey, but I mightn't talk too much this time, just so my voice doesn't completely give out. But yeah, that's the plan for today. Let me turn the music up a little bit. But I think, is this the right layout? Yes, because I think, see, this section feels like it's a little bit too far to the left. It needs to be like there. Like there. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Let me flip it. Yeah, okay, and then I'm gonna adjust these bits to match. Better. Makes it just look a bit more round. Okay. Oof, it looks like a bit of a mess, but that's fine. We'll fix it. How's that looking? Not too bad. It also kind of looks like it's looking down a bit now. Actually, I don't know if I like it. Ain't that just the way? I think I need a... That's not bad. I think actually this is the stage where I get really finicky and picky with it all. Where's that? Oh, that's on that side. Right down the middle here. What am I doing? Zooming out also helps. Gives you a bit more perspective. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Yeah. Something like that. I'm flipping it back and forth so much, I'm sorry. I think that's it. Just there. Okay. Now I'll tidy it up a little bit, but I think that perspective is a bit better. Oh, what is happening? What is going on now? Yikers. Yeah, also I've been having trouble with my clip studio, but I think I figured out a way to kind of navigate around it just occasionally, because I've got my on my pen there are two little buttons and I've got them set up so when I click them it undoes the last thing that I did. It's just like a quick erase button, but occasionally when I push it it switches me to a different layer and then I can't draw on any layer but that one, which is very bizarre and I don't know why it's doing that. But then usually I've found that if I just backspace a few more times it fixes itself up. What am I doing here? Am I just gonna push them to be going straight up? This might be a mistake, so I'll just do a big eraser. Oh yeah, that's good. These bits might need to come down a little bit though. Let's see. Okay, that's good. Yeah. I finished reading a new book just yesterday. I've been loving reading so much recently. It's been so nice. For a while, I've been loving reading the last few months, but in the last couple of weeks, I really slowed down with it. Usually I get through like a book a week, but then I really slowed down because I read The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter, and I really liked it. It was intense. That it's a full-on, it's a series of short stories, and they're a lot, but it's very literary writing, and it just took me a while to get through it because you really need to be focusing on what she's saying to be able to interpret it all. But I wanted to finish it, and I did, and I enjoyed it. And then I started reading Chai Time at the Cinnamon Gardens because I knew it had been super popular. And that's, in case you don't know, because I don't know if it's done super well globally or just in Australia, but it's been very popular in Australia. And it is beautifully written. It's really beautiful. I really loved the story and subject matter, but it just wasn't like grabbing me. Like after reading Angela Carter, I needed something with a lot of momentum, and it didn't have a lot of momentum to it. That's okay. Some books I think are better off being slower paced like that, but I just needed something faster paced. So I picked up Kill Your Husbands by Jack Heath, which I think is a more recent novel, and I really enjoyed it. I don't think I've really read any murder mysteries before this one. Well, not like a proper one. I read The Cat Who Caught a Killer, which I really, really loved. And that has like surface level stuff of a murder mystery, but it's not, I wouldn't classify it as like a crime novel necessarily. But I really loved Kill Your Husbands. I think there were maybe one or two little things that I think could have been handled a touch better, but like very minimal in my mind. Like it was really, really beautiful, like well done. Like I love writing, and I've studied writing in tertiary education and stuff, but I find mystery and crime writers like that just so impressive. The amount of planning that it takes is just incredible, and especially this book just kind of blew me away because he does such an incredible job of writing, of working with perspective. I'll give you a brief synopsis, no spoilers, just nothing more than what's on the back of the book, but it's essentially about three couples who are all friends decide to go on a holiday away to a little cabin at the top of a mountain, and they decide to do a partner swap. And I partially picked this book up because I thought the premise was kind of silly. And I was like, you know what, I just kind of want to see how it goes, because the idea is that each of them swap partners for the evening, so sleep with each other's partners, but the idea is that each of them, like one by one, takes turns going into different rooms, not knowing who's going in each, and so the idea is you won't know who you slept with, so there won't be any hard feelings at the end because you don't know who slept with who. And I kind of scoffed at that a little bit, like that the idea that these people have been your best friends for decades and you think you won't know who you're sleeping with anyway. But so I thought that was a funny premise, and I decided to give it a go. But the idea is this happens, and then when they come all out of this, one of them has been murdered, and no one will admit to being their partner. In the partner exchange. So it is a bit of a silly premise, but I thought, I need something fast-paced, and I think this will fill it. And it for sure did. I think I need to move this file a little bit. book. Sorry, concentrating. Give me a second. But it's like really well written. That yes, apply. Half of it takes place like a week later from the perspective of a detective who I really loved as a character. An Aboriginal woman who's a lesbian. Her name is Kiara. She's really cool. I just loved her. And apparently I didn't realize, but this is like a second book, not necessarily in a series, but using the same characters. So now I'm just super keen to go back and read the original, because it's probably best to read the original first, because there were definitely a lot of mentions of what happened in the original one. So reading Kill Your Husbands before, I think the original one was like Kill Your Brothers or something. Reading this one first probably takes some of the impact out of the first one, of course, but still. But so yeah, half the perspective. What am I doing? Sorry, I'm losing concentration. Half of it is from Kiara's perspective, the detective, her doing it later, and whenever she talks about someone who was at the mountain house, any one of those people who were there at the event, she refers to them using their last names. But then some of the chapters are from the perspective of the people at the incident, and that one uses their first names. So even though, like, people are getting interviewed and you know that people have died, you don't know who has survived and who hasn't, because of the way they use naming and stuff. It's just really nicely done. The pacing and perspective of it is really good, and it's clear he has such a good process for developing the mystery of it. And like having a sense for what the reader knows at any given point. Because I struggle with that so much, to like take my head out of where I am in writing a story and recognize what the reader also knows. And he just did such a good job of it. I just found it so impressive from like a writing standpoint. So I really enjoyed that, and I finished that one last night. So I'm keen to read some more of this stuff. Not to mention, it was Aussie, which I didn't realize when I first picked it up. But cool to read about places that you know. Which I guess in other countries, like, well, if you're from America, mightn't be as much of a wild thing, but it's always very exciting to go, well, I know that place, because so much of the media we consume is like American and British. But now I've picked up a non-fiction. I've been recommended to read Atomic Habits by Atomic Habits by James Clear, all about habit forming and stuff. It seems good so far. First opening line in the introduction really grabs you. I was having a debate with some people the other day about this. And here I said I wasn't going to talk much. I can already feel my voice getting angry with me. But oh yeah, how much of a book you're willing to read if you're not enjoying it before you like give up. And the people I spoke to were very forgiving. They're like 50 pages, I'll read a few chapters. And I think that's generally also what I do. But also from a literary standpoint, I'm like, if you haven't got me in the first few pages or page, then I don't think you've done your job. That's very harsh, I know. But also, I mean, a novel is a form where like the whole process is you can edit that thing over and over and over again. And you like, you know how important those first few words are in capturing someone right at the beginning. And like a good editor should make that clear to you, you know? That being said, there's been a real rise, oh god, voice break. There's been a real rise in self-publishing because of COVID. So there's been a lot of people who haven't been actually getting proper editors and they're just doing it all themselves. Which is great for accessibility of it and people sharing more stories. But it also means there's a lot more works that aren't, that are probably hitting the shelves before they're quite ready for it. And that can sometimes do a disservice to the writer and their story as well. So, I don't know. Okay, what are we thinking? There's something not quite right. I think I want to round this off a bit. Sorry, me talking with my hand over my mouth. Maybe now I need to rotate this back, actually. Whoops. Ain't that just the way? I think that's better. I mean, I like how the designs come out. I tried to take inspiration from some of the images that were, the inspiration that was proposed last time. What am I doing here? And like in the arms, it's kind of got a, I don't know what the, like, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know what I'm thinking. But it's there. I think I might, I think the only thing I want to fix up is the angle of these is throwing me off. I really struggle with these. But then I think I'm ready to line art it. Maybe I should just re-roll them. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I hate perspective. Alright, yeah, I think that works. And this one. do the job? I think I just need to stop fiddling with it at this point. I mean, yeah, but eventually I'll get it. Actually, that might be it. Maybe if I just shuffle it in a little. It's actually in line, like there. Go. Yeah. That's it. I'm leaving it. Now we're gonna actually do the line out. Christ almighty. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of this for the moment. Okay. Let's do this. Oh gosh, now I need to pick. I lost all the pens that I downloaded previously, which sucks. So I might just need to. Oh, I might just need to do it with my normal, just the G pen, which I guess would be fine. What's the textured one like? That one might be it. So how thick we want the lines? No, I think we want them a bit thinner. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Yeah, okay. Line art's always, I think, my favourite part. That's when it starts coming together for me. Get to be really nice and, it's still a very thick line. Ah, well, whatever. If I hate it, I can just do it all over again. That's not it. Do I have stabilization on this? Oh, only at 6. No wonder I'm stepping this up. Much better. Oh no. Damn it. Yeah, for some reason sometimes... Yeah, that sucked. My mouse just got... it just switched over. That was the problem I was talking about earlier, that it just took me off the correct layer. So like now currently it's switched over, like whenever it switches over to my mouse like that, it means it's switched to a different layer. And I have to backspace until I get to the right one, but of course that undoes the layer that I just drew, which is annoying. Oh my god, I can't get a good curve on this layer. Come on, god damn it. Okay. Ugh, that one will do. Christ almighty. Sometimes I think I just need to up the stabilization because they're all coming out way too wobbly. Oh. 30 is such a high stabilization to have it on, but I am also drawing a robot. They need to be very precise lines. The inside bit of this is probably all going to be just about whited out, because how am I going to draw this? Because I'm going to make it into a big old laser, but you know, we'll draw it in there just in case. Oh, I like this song. Doing, it's gonna make these. This is all about. It's all about the details with these ones. Nope. I need to change the angle a bit. Whoa, there he goes. Okay. I've heard this song somewhere before, like other than on my own stream, like in an ad or something. I do have that happen sometimes because I get all my music from like a sound database, and occasionally I stumble across songs that I found in other like properties. Like I found quite a few from Dimension 20 on this one. Like we clearly use the same sound database, which is awesome. Be the same consistency. No. Okay, yeah, that'll do. But this isn't going to be the most precise and neat robot. And that's okay. He's just a bit like melted from battle damage or something. Such an instinct to ignore some of my sketch lines here, but I know I've drawn them that way for a reason, so even if it feels bleh, I should probably just keep going with it. Ooh. God damn. Round. There we go. Okay, we're getting there. This tea is very nice on my sore throat. course, I haven't drawn for a hot second. Like when I started drawing this, I hadn't drawn for probably a few weeks, just because I've been so busy. I just didn't have the time to. And now I haven't. I don't think I've drawn since I last worked on this drawing. So I'm a little bit rusty. Probably why my lines are so wonk. Well, I saw oh, hello, Fairy Berry. How are you? I'm just having a chill time drawing Chandelure at the moment. Oh, wait, see, I'll show you. Ready? Oh, wow, no. Ta-da! And then there's also this. It's a big old robot. It's gonna have big old eye beams blowing up the town below. This is, oh, you can see the map in the top right-hand corner. What town is this? Yeah, it's a big logo. Well, I forgot what town this is. It's Icarus City. I can't remember what game that one's from. But yep, this big old robot. So I'm currently, yeah, just doing the line art for it. Making it neat and pretty. Well, as pretty as I can be. My hands are really shaky. Yeah. He can fly twice as high, absolutely. And for some reason he's absolutely decimating this town. I need to come up with some kind of lore for that, because it does seem a little bit out of character, but you know. He's just pissed for some reason. Fair enough. I don't know if maybe he's like a mech and there's lots of little guys inside. I think last time I was thinking maybe Team Rocket's in there, or maybe it's just a bunch of other Pokemon. But I guess, oh yeah, I think I also theorized that these little pod thingies, like, because there's going to be fire coming out of the top, but the little four arms, which are usually flames as well, are actually going to be glass, and they're it's Pokemon. Yeah, so this is Chandelure that I'm drawing as a mech. Let me see if I can. I did have a photo of Chandelure and then I changed it. Hang on, ignore this. This is the wrong picture. This is from another thing that I'm making. Let me change it. Here, show me Chandelure. Yeah, this, go. Show me Pokemon. Did I change the wrong one? Yeah, I changed my background to a picture of Chandelure. That's great. Good job, me. Chandelure. No, it's tiny. This is the Pokemon, and I'm making a big robot. So you can see, where's my mouse? So these things, which are normally the flames over here, I'm gonna make them, so they're made of like glass, and that's where they keep the prisoners. And there's gonna be a big thing of fire coming out the top. Maybe a little bit of fire coming out the bottom as like a kind of propulsion thing. But yep, that's how it's going so far. Just a bit of fun. I should switch my background back or I'm gonna forget. I can't believe I did that. That was so stupid. Okay, where am I? Yeah, that thing. It's the Chandelure Pokemon. The Chandelier Pokemon. That's kind of cool. Thank you. Where's my background? Oh my god. This one's all over the place. What am I doing? I have so many folders. Is this gonna be? No, there we go. I got it. Okay, we're fine now. Yeah, we can get out of here. But yeah, no, I've got so many folders. But yes, that's what I'm working on. No, not that one. This one. And we're gonna make this small so I can see. Okay. Yeah, but I'm just slowly drawing this guy. It'd be nice if I get to coloring him in today, but at the rate I'm going so far, I don't think that's gonna happen. Because I'm a little out of practice, so my hands are like a bit shaky and I'm not making my lines as neat as usual, so it means I'm having to redraw them over and over and over again. And that is time consuming. Also, I'm super duper losing my voice. My throat is so sore, so I'm taking it chill today. No, dang it, come on. I don't know why Clip Studio is being weird. I double checked and I like updated it and everything. I don't know why it's being funky for me, but what can you do? I just roll with it. What about this bit? Sure, why not? That's a bit that needs to be done. I also got myself a coloring in book, just for funsies, because I finished tape, so I was like, I just want to have something that's super chill to do. So I got myself a coloring in book, and it's really fun. I just sat for like an hour or two last night coloring in, and it was great. The one I got is specifically, it's all about, oh my god, I keep stop. There we go. No, I keep deleting stuff. It's about old folklore from around the world. And so there are lots of depictions of lots of cool mythological creatures and stuff like that. It's really nice. I'm really enjoying it. I've colored in a hydra, and like bits of a dragon, and it's awesome. And I'm having a great time. Coloring is fun. And it's nice because at the end of the book, it's got a section where they give you info about all of the different things you've colored in. It's very cool. I don't know if that perspective makes sense, but it is what it is. Okay, let's try this side. Of this thing is a nightmare. Okay, we're getting there. Oh, the music is much louder than my mic. Oops, sorry. There we go, that should be better. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yep. I am also being a little bit quiet and just kind of muttering to myself. But I appreciate the heads up. No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited that I finished TAFE. I really enjoyed it. I loved it so much. It was fantastic to be able to, because I was studying something that I really loved, like sound design stuff. But I also realized that I've been doing tertiary education for 5 years, and I would like to not be doing that now. Like I really enjoy studying and stuff. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I now have my Cert 3 and 4 in podcasting and digital storytelling, which is very, very exciting. But like, I loved being in the studio and like editing things, but the assignments sucked so bad. Like, my teachers did a great job. They were all like super knowledgeable and really supportive and helpful, which was fantastic. But also they weren't the ones who wrote the assignments. And the course was made for my group. So like, because we did the Cert 3 and it was the first time they offered it at this campus that I went to. And then we were keen to keep going and they're like, oh shit, I guess we better make another course. So it wasn't good. Just like, at least like the assignments and some of the requirements and stuff just didn't work. It was basically a reskinned version of a radio course, which is comparable in that it's audio, and then not much else. And also, it's very clear that the person writing the questions didn't really know anything about podcasting. And like, yeah, it wasn't the teachers writing the questions as well. But so it was a bit rough in that regard. Just that the assignments were generally pretty easy, but were just like so poorly. They were just so full of buzzwords and stuff that it was indecipherable at times. Just to the point where I was like almost having meltdowns in the classroom trying to process what it was saying. It was like, ugh. So I'm just glad that I don't have to do assignments anymore, and that, yeah, so like you said, Fairy Berry, putting it into practice. I'm so excited to just actually like have the time to make stuff now that I know how to properly do it. And I was really nervous. I was kind of disappointed to be leaving because the campus I studied at had a fantastic mixing desk set up. They had an S6 mixing desk with a proper 5.1, no, it was 7.2 actually. 7.2 setup, also with a Dolby Atmos speaker. And there's nowhere else in my region that has a setup like that. And even if I was willing to travel to hire one, it would cost thousands of dollars for like a single session. And I mean, when I have lots of stuff that I want to make, you just can't do that. Because like, sure, for a single song, it might cost a few $1,000s, and hopefully you might make that back on royalties. I'm not sure how music works, but like my content is much longer than that. I'm doing like episodes that are 20 minutes each, and generally have a lot more tracks, and I'm also doing lots of panning and stuff. So that it's just far too expensive to be able to do it for a project like this. But I was chatting to my teacher, and the thing is, I don't need it to be a super high quality setup, because all that I'm really using the setup for is for its surround sound formation. That it's a studio that has it has 7 speakers in a circle. It's got 2 subwoofers, and it's got 1 speaker above, which you don't really need. So if I could just get like a 5.1 amp, get some cheaper shitty speakers, I can recreate that. It doesn't need to be good audio quality, because I can edit all that part of it just on my setup at the moment. It's just the panning that I need that for. So I could make that myself. And it wouldn't cost me too much if I just go on Facebook Marketplace and get the cheapest, nastiest shit I can find. Then I think I could do it. Oh no, that's terrible. What am I doing? So that might be a goal for the new year, to try and set up a surround sound mix at home. I don't know how I'm gonna set them up in my room. It might just be a temporary thing for when I want to do some of that editing. I'll bust it out, sorry, I'm just rambling now, but you know, that's what this is about. But something I also found through the editing process is editing it for a surround sound. Well, thank you, Fei. Thank you. Yeah, editing it for a surround sound setup. Very few people are going to be listening to the medium of content I make. No one's listening to a podcast in a surround sound setup. I think it's a fun way to do it, and that's what I'm really interested in. But most people are going to be listening to it in headphones in stereo. And that requires a different editing mindset. Whoop. Because I'm not going to spoil the story I'm working on, because I do intend to release it. That's true. I don't know how you're listening to your podcasts. You could have a 50.6 setup in your house. You walk into a room, the walls are speakers, you are speakers, and you're just fully immersed. You personally render every piece of media that you consume to fit your room, and it's incredible. You sit alone in your opera theater in a rich leather chair with a duvet. Absolutely. That's how. And the duvet, also a speaker. And smoking a pipe. Yes, full of tobacco, made of tiny speakers, and they're all each playing an individual sound. Podcast comes through your record player. Oh, okay, yeah, true, yeah, and then some people are listening to it completely in mono. I actually have an idea that's probably going to be kind of stupid, and it's just for funsies for me, but I want to try making a little like headgear setup that's surround sound but just goes on your head, kind of like headphones, but I want to have little speakers that go all the way around your head, so you can still get the movement, but it's all close to your head. It'll be janky as hell, but I just want to make it for fun, because that's what I enjoy, apparently. But as I was saying, yes, I'm not going to spoil what my story is about, because I do intend to release it one day. But it's designed as a found footage podcast. And the idea is that in world, at least in this first episode, it's being recorded on a mobile phone. And you, as the listener, are listening to this recording. So the problem is then, well, when you're listening to it on headphones, that kind of works. But then when I'm mixing it in a surround sound setup, it's coming from multiple sources, like it's surrounding you. So it's like it ruins the effect of it being recorded on a device. And so it's interesting that I've got to keep that in mind when I'm recording and writing and editing it. That it'd be listened in different ways. It sounds somewhat niche, but I think it could turn out really nice. Thank you. I think definitely experienced by design. Yeah, absolutely. I think it could be really cool, because then you could fully hear someone like whisper in your ear and move around. I don't know. I think it'd be an interesting thing to edit for. Don't a lot of modern headphones now have surround sound? The problem, yes, but the thing is, it's still coming out of stereo outputs. So as much as it sounds, as much as it can sound like they can put reverb on it to make it sound like it's got a bit of an echo, and they can pan it from left to right or pan it to be mostly left and a little bit right, it's still coming out of two speakers, which will squash some of the immersive sound design to a certain point. So yeah, it's like you certainly still get the effect, but listening to something that's fully coming out of like 7 speakers that are bodily surrounding you is a whole different experience. And that's what I want to try and capture, but in a more portable setup. Like, it'd look janky as hell. No one's gonna ever. I'm not making this to propose as a thing, but I just want to see if I can pull it off. Make something cool with it, just for my own experiments. But essentially, the conclusion that I've come to for my story is that I would probably edit 2 different mixes of it. I'd mix one, the Canon one, which is for stereo for headphones, so it sounds like it's been recorded on a phone. And then I'd mix a like surround sound mix of it, so you can sit in a room and hear it all around you. But because I would need to modify, because then I couldn't have it sound like it's been recorded on a phone, because it's tough to explain, but because it'd be all coming from around you, it would technically be like non-canon to the story, which is bizarre, but I think it'd be a cool listening experience that I'd still want to try to make. So yes, I've had a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of sound thoughts. But at TAFE, I fully made, well, at least I made scene 5 of the first episode of this podcast that I've been working on for now 2 years. And I fully like recorded it and mixed it and everything, and I got to the end and went, cool, I'm gonna rewrite it. Which is very unplanned, but as like exhausting as that sounds, I'm glad to have come to that conclusion, because I think I now know a lot more about the medium and genre I'm aiming for and can write it a lot better. So, you know, I'm excited to try again. This whole thing is kind of just an experiment for fun anyway, so it is what it is. I'm just glad I've been able to work on it again, because it was originally my thesis project at uni, but by the time I had been working on it for a year straight and submitted it, I was so sick of it. I didn't want to think about it anymore. But then this came up at TAFE and I decided to pick it up again, and I'm glad I did, because now I remember how much I loved the story of it. And now I think I can actually pull it off. Because I feel like at TAFE I've actually learned what I need to know to be able to pull it off, which is good. Hopefully it's not too much work producing it for 2 modes of delivery. I don't think it would be, because honestly, most of the bulk of the work I've found is in like the editing and the mixing of it. So actually chopping up the lines and editing the volume and applying effects and stuff like that. And both of those would be pretty much the same for the different mixes. It'd just be how I pan it, and that can be done in a couple of days, if not shorter. So I think it's doable. Not to mention, it's mostly the first episode that I think will have the most trouble with this. So I don't think it'd be too much of an issue for future ones. But I think, I don't know if I'll do the whole thing that way. I might maybe I'll just keep it in mind and then only mix this podcast for stereo, and then maybe just do future projects in the surround sound. But you know, it's all an experiment. We're feeling out the space. Yeah, I just I like sound as a medium for storytelling. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think you could there's some really cool stuff you could do with sound, and I think it's often be very underutilized. But I think with podcasting being on the rise, I think more light is kind of being shone on it as a medium, which is exciting. So I don't know. I'm just keen to play around and hopefully make something cool. We do love side projects, absolutely. I completely agree. Well, let's see how's this guy coming along. Whoa, nice. Look at him. He's a bit wonky, but that's fine. Yes, not to mention that this podcast, this project that I've been working on was all like originally, and still kind of is, just an experiment stepping stone project to a bigger one I have in mind. But I decided, no, we'll do this one first because this one's easier, and we'll figure out the foundation of how to make something like this, and then we can move on to the bigger one. So Shin, oh, hi Shin. Yes, that's correct. I need to fix their nickname on my Discord. Yeah, but is that the correct angle for that? Oh god. These are all going backwards, so yes, that makes sense. Yeah, but no, I've got a bigger project in mind, which I think will be, God, even more of an endeavor than this. But so this is all, like, I'm not too disappointed that that I've decided to start again with this, because I know that just means that I've learnt more about the medium, and it means I'll be able to pull this other project off better. Oh, I just have too many ideas. Too many ideas for stories. It's all fun though. Okay. Oof. Oh, wonky lines. We love it. Come on, damn it. Come on, fix my mouse. Thank you. There we go. Alrighty. What is going on here? Okay, so these are like, there's like a cylinder kind of shape here. and then on either end there's like a ball joint, so this can pivot and this can pivot. So I kind of, I'm trying to like imply that there's some, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but that they can move and stuff like that. Ooh. Oh, it's just loading. Oh yeah, I should probably save, shouldn't I? Haha. Let's do that. Yeah. Just having my tea occasionally. That's better. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see the ball joints there. Okay. No. We want to. There we go. Sure, that works. Oh no. Oh, and now that I finished TAFE, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm really hoping I can do some more cosplay stuff, because I haven't done any cosplay stuff in like a year. Well, what was the last no, it wouldn't have been a year, would it? Because the last cosplay I did was Stradvon Zarovich from D&D fame. And now I can't remember if it must have been last year that it was last year. Then was in around July was the last time that I cosplayed. Then, oh my god, because I thought it was this year. Because I went to a Ren fair as Stradvon Zarovich. But it couldn't have been this year because I was in a play at that time of year and I wouldn't have been able to go away for a Ren fair during that. So it must have been last year, my god. But anyway, I haven't cosplayed for a while and I really miss it. So I wanna work on a new one. I've got lots planned. The main one I want to do is so niche. It's from Drawfee, which is a YouTube channel that I love very much, where they draw, believe it or not. And years ago, they did a challenge because one of the members, Julia, used to render all their drawings. So they draw the line art and then she'd go in and color them and make them look pretty and stuff. And they did a challenge where they drew something that would be extremely difficult for her to render, and then she had to render it. And the character they drew was one they made up on the spot called Bella LaBall. And I want to cosplay her. Anyone who knows that character will know that is going to be quite an undertaking. Because as much as Bella's design is difficult to draw, it is also difficult to cosplay. She's got like a clear helmet through which her brain is exposed. She's got like an arm that's a fish tank. And she wears different shoes, which sounds stupid, but one of them is a clear boot and one of them is a goth croc. So I've got to figure that out somehow. But that's the plan. She's the one of the main ones. Would it be too early for me to be asking more questions about your cooperative world building, or should I wait for you two to take things to a more developed stage before investigating out of personal curiosity your methods of writing and creation? By the way, should I change my name on Discord to be the same as it is on Twitch? Yeah, that'd probably be helpful, I guess, to change your name. But like, you could just change your nickname in the Discord. That'd be helpful, I guess, but no pressure. Only if you want to. Yeah, and honestly, like, because Snuggles and I have like chatted a bit about the world, but it's still in like pretty early stages of development. So, and like, it's a joint effort. So as much as I could like make something up on the spot, I don't want to make any decisions about it that they haven't like also agreed to. Like, I can tell you about my process for like world building and stuff, but there's probably not too much I can give you specifically about this world at the moment, because it's all still kind of fluid and subject to change and that kind of thing. And I've got to say though that my process for world building isn't anything too fancy or structured. I tend to focus a lot on tone. Tone is really important for me when making anything, because like having aesthetics that kind of speak to you and are coherent and cohesive is a really important thing to me when designing something, all about how something makes you feel. And it doesn't need to be too deep, but I just think if something is, if I just find it fun or interesting or entertaining in some way, then that's what I'll lean towards. But generally when making something, I often make like Pinterest boards and Spotify playlists and that kind of thing to try to hone in on the tone and the feeling of the world. And I often do that before I do too much planning. I usually have like an inciting idea that generally might come to me from another piece of media or like a song or some kind of experience or something, and then I'll probably have some kind of image in my head for what that looks like, and then I just try to find other pieces of media that have similar tones to them, and I just try to compile those so I essentially have a snapshot of what the thing should look and feel like. Like, I'll just listen to lots of music on Spotify and stuff, and if I find a song that kind of resonates with the world, like one that that when I picture the world kind of fits as background music for it, then I'll add it to the playlist. Or if I find a picture that looks like it could be from that world, then I'll add it to the Pinterest board and that kind of thing, until I slowly have a big board of things. So then when I start to develop ideas, I can look at it to kind of get in the right headspace to work on it more. That's kind of my process. And then I generally approach it as a problem-solving thing, of working with an idea and then essentially writing out the plot until I run into a problem or I don't know something, and then trying to think of solutions to the thing. I can't necessarily think of a good example, but yeah. Do you think Snuggles' choice of RNG is going to help the setting be coherent? It seems quite different from your approach. RNG, the random number generator. Yeah, well, like, this approach is very different to what I would normally do. But I like it for that. Because Snuggles and I have very different ways of thinking. Because Snuggles is, I mean, like, brilliant, like, really good at numbers and logic and making sure things work together in that sense. And I think that's often something that's missing from my world, from the worlds that I make, at least. I mean, and oh god, I'm gonna kind of have to wing this bit here. What is this supposed to look like? Because this, oof, yikes. Oh, hang on. This bit of the design is whack. Sorry, concentrating. Yeah. So I think it will work well together, just because we kind of both bring something that the other can lack sometimes or struggles with. Like I'm very insecure about running battles. I struggle to make them engaging and dynamic, I feel. But Snuggles understands the strategy behind it in a way that I just don't. And as much as like Snuggles is like using the RNG stuff, I think there's also a logic to that, about cutting down on the time it takes to develop so many different places, that will also kind of help my process a bit, because otherwise all those different nations, I would just spend time individually thinking about how they would all work, or in fact I would probably skip over a lot of the development phases that were probably necessary. Like I probably wouldn't even think about governmental systems like that. I just think about what it looks like. So working with Snuggles means that we actually do have that structure in place. But what am I thinking? And I think also because we're using that system doesn't necessarily eliminate my process altogether. Like, gosh, I hate this. What is happening here? It doesn't necessarily eliminate all my process altogether, because as much as it's generating like how religious they are and stuff like that, that implies some things, but the tone of it is still very much in our hands, and still very much something that I can have influence over. And if anything doesn't resonate, then we can just get rid of it. But I don't know, I feel like it's going to create, if anything, it's giving me a good foundation to build off of. Because otherwise there'd be just so much ground to cover that I probably wouldn't be able to make as big a spot. Like the campaign I'm currently running for D&D is just in one country. Because I think with my process it's difficult to make something wider than that. Yeah, but I'm excited. I think it'll be interesting. I think we're a good duo to make something like this. Oh my gosh, I love chatting about this stuff, but also my voice. No. Oh, dang it. Look at this guy. Wait, let's see. Whoa! He's really coming together. Sweet. And I think once I finish this line art layer, I'll go in as well and, let me just, whoop. Oh no, never mind. I'll go in and do another layer of details. So I'll put like lines of where sheet metal meets, and I'll put in like bolts and hatches and that kind of thing, just to add more visual noise to it. There's a word in like prop building and model making. What's it called? Because it is visual noise, but there's like a thing. I can't remember. Oh, let it come to me. I also have another drawing project I want to work on soon, We'll see how I go with this one, but maybe like next stream or in a few streams I want to draw. At work we have 2 tiny little plushies. They're like little tree ornaments, and people have just slowly like added little decorations to them and given them name tags, and now we've decided that they're in love, and so I'm gonna draw them. I'm gonna draw some fan art of these 2 little plushies. There's a bear named Mr. Growl, and then the other one is a rat named Senor Cheese. So I'm gonna draw them at some point. So you'll get some nice bear rat fan art at some point when I get to it. Hang on, actually no, let's finish drawing those ones first. Spin back around. There we go. Thank you. Oh, how do I do that? Maybe be it. Okay. I'm gonna spin this around, and this is the most efficient and neat approach to this that I can think of. Let's let big gaps in. This thing is like some kind, like a grill, and it's standing into Chandelure's mouth. Is the idea. Oh gosh, and you know what I watched last night? It was so good. I've watched it many times now, but I rewatched David Tennant and Catherine Tate's Much Ado About Nothing. Oh, it's so fun. What a good show. I enjoy it so much. They're just so good at Shakespeare. They're so good at Shakespeare. Because some people just seem to get it, like, because it can be such a difficult vernacular to understand. But they make it. They're so good at performing it and engaging with the words that it's so like easy to understand what's going on, and like they help you to understand the genius of the writing. It's so brilliant. Do you have any experience in using 3D CAD software? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Is that like 3D? No, I don't think so. So like, do you mean stuff like Blender, or like 3D model kind of design? I've had a bit of a go in God, what is it called? Oh, that's not 3D though. No. I was thinking I've had a bit of a go in like a 2D like model animation software, which is so tough. But no, nothing 3D. Might try Blender one day, but because I would like to do some 3D stuff, mostly just so I can design minis, if I'm honest. But so far, no, I do not have experience with that kind of thing. computer-aided design. Yes, Blender is one. Gotcha. Yeah. No, I haven't. It seems cool. I think it'd also be super helpful because I like drawing interiors, but but being able to like design a room on Blender first and then use it as a reference to then draw something, I think it would be super helpful, and I'd love to do that. And then yeah, I'd love to be able to 3D design things that I can print as minis or as props for cosplay. I think that'd be great. But no, so far I've not had any experience with that, I'm afraid. I find it a little mind-boggling, but you know, one day I intend to try it out at some point. I enjoy gaining new skills, so it's certainly on the cards. See, there we go, look at that. It's like, yeah, a grill. Pretty cool. I'd also love to, I haven't really had a go at 2D animation, but I'd really like to try that. I know, because this is Clip Studio Paint, what I'm drawing in at the moment, and I know they have like a pro version where you can do animation. And I'd really like to try that out. I think I just enjoy doing silly little clips of stuff. I think that would be fun. I have tried once on their free version, which only gives you like 25 frames, but I made a silly little like a worm in a pot dancing back and forth. It's very stupid, but I enjoyed it. But I have ideas for like, love to be able to do animation for theatre projections, because I volunteer at a local theatre group. And while I mostly do sound design, they recently kind of like upgraded their projection setup. And I would love to be able to make nice animations for it. I really want to, there's a song from a musical that I love. It's 35 millimeter, it's the 35 millimeter musical exhibition or something like that. It's a really cool idea for a musical. It's essentially a series of photos, each of which has inspired a song. So it's essentially like a musical short story collection. So there's just a series of different songs all on different stories, and yeah, but there's one that I really love, which is the Ballad of Sarah Berry, which you might have heard because it blew up on TikTok for a bit. But I have an idea for a way of performing it where you kind of have an animated background, and I'd love to try making that, so you could just project it and use it for a performance. I think that would be really cool. I was wondering if it was touched upon at any point throughout your education. I encountered it a fair amount in engineering study. I'd imagine plenty of artists could really make good use of the technology. Yeah, not so much in what I did, because I have more of a writing background. Though I took like a character design class, and I took a few art classes as well, but it wasn't really in anything that I touched on. I'd be really interested to take a video game design course, because I'd love to try making a video game at some point. And I'd love to do audio design for video games, and I think that knowledge would be good, but no, it didn't really pop up in anything I touched on. But I agree, I think it'd be a great tool for artist stuff, and I'm sure there are plenty out there who do use that kind of thing. Yes, stop motion could be cool. I think, I don't know how to describe the kind of background I'm thinking of for this song is kind of like an animatic esque stuff, like all just using like black, white, and red as color schemes and mostly blocky images. But I don't know. I have ideas, and the there's no real like one medium that I'm drawn to. Like, of course, I really love sound, and I guess that probably is my primary one. But I mostly just have ideas, and then go out and try to learn a skill that best suits that idea. Like when like this podcast that I'm working on, when I originally came up with the idea, the whole idea for the podcast was I need something that is easy to make with a single person. I'm like, I can't hire a team of I can't hire like any voice actors. I just like don't have the budget for it, so I need to be able to do it myself. So the idea was for me to be the only voice actor, and how to make that work. But then the idea and the story that I was making just kind of grew of its own accord from there. And I was like, well, this story is asking to be in surround sound, so I guess I got to go learn how to do that. And I did, and now I can do it. I think that's one thing that's got me through a lot of stuff, is knowing the best skill you can have, in my opinion, is skill learning. That I've done well in different situations, often because objective-based learning is good. Well done. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Like I often in situations I've done well because I was there and someone needed to do something, and because of something I'd previously done, I'd learned a skill that they then needed. Like I was doing sound recording for a short horror film, and I was just there as like an assistant sound recorder. I was just manning like the atmospheric mic, and I wasn't doing too much. But then it was a vampire film, and they needed someone, and they showed up on the day, and they're like, we need someone, we don't know how to apply these vampire teeth. And I'm like, cool, well, I've cosplayed a vampire before. I've used this brand. Here, let me do it. So then I became the designated props person, just because I've had that previous experience. And so I feel like that's a rewarding way to approach things, of rather than shaping your goals to what skills you have, shaping your skills to what goals you have. You know, following the story, not the medium. Anyway, there's my little inspirational pitch of the day. But that's kind of why I draw, because I played D&D and I wanted character art. Or like why I play the ukulele, because I'm like, well, I guess I want to be able to play some kind of instrument, and ukulele's nice and easy. Wow. Sometimes. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just feel like sometimes people underestimate their ability to pick up new things. They just go, well, I don't know how to do it now, so I guess I can't do this thing. Rather than going, well, I've learned other things in my life, so I guess I can learn this thing too. kind of speaking of which, I want to get better at cooking. Like, I cook all my own meals and stuff at the moment. Like, I don't usually get takeout except on, like, special occasions, or actually I've been getting a bit at work lately, just when I don't have time to meal prep. But I want to get better at cooking. I think I'm just gonna pick a recipe book and work through it, like, once a week, make something new from it. Because I find it so impressive when people can just throw something together. I want to be able to do that. Oh my gosh, we're getting so close to having this guy fully line-arted. Oh. Yikes, this line is not happy. Go. Sure, that'll do the job. His arm setup looks a tiny bit confusing at the moment, just because there's kind of a lot going on with it. But I'm hoping once I start shading, that'll kind of sort itself out a little bit, because of course he's freaking huge. So hopefully I can get some perspective going with the shading. Also, I should draw some, like, I don't know, little people or Pokemon trapped in this glass up here. It's just a heap of Pikachus. I'm trying to imagine what sort of mechanical or electrical actuators move those robot arms. Are you able to make a few clearer marking / visual indicators as to what is a joint and what is a structural point support? Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I'm hoping to go over and add some detail lines and stuff like that. And not to mention, I think some of them will be like, color will play a part in that as well. But also, this is, like, just a guy. It's not necessarily based in, well, he's definitely not based in any kind of logic. But yeah, no, once I go in, I'll try and make it a bit more clear what's what. Just kind of getting the essentially what my idea is that these it's like a ball and socket thing. So these cylinders, the balls are, like, wedged in there, and so the balls can rotate, and generally these like piston kind of shapes connect, and then they can all move and rotate, and there are probably electrical mechanics inside the thingies, which inside the cylinders, which it almost kind of looks like a little, I don't know, like, what am I thinking? I'm thinking of, like, those doors that are controlled by, like pistons, like compressed air and stuff. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I don't really know anything about engineering. I'm just making it up as I go along. Most of this is just visual noise. But that's okay. The Lucario that I drew certainly didn't have any logic to it. It's more just finding shapes that that mimic the original Pokemon's design. Oh, is that it? Whoa! Ta-da! Look at that! These kind of, the arm bits kind of make me think of when you made models of DNA, or like, what am I thinking? Well, I guess DNA. but like chemical structures in high school. I forget what those things were called, but that kind of thing. Look at this guy. Oh, I'm happy with how this is turning out. So I might just go in with a slightly finer pen. We'll go 0.1, but I'll do things like I want to put some, because lines and stuff like that are gonna make it a bit more obvious, like the curvature of things. Boop. What else? Have one there. What else? Can put. Because like little lines of detail like this will kind of visually just help to indicate direction and that kind of thing. Just a bit of noise. Keep saying that. Visual noise. Well, visual noise is a good word. Good term. Word. God, I really want to run a murder mystery dinner. I think I've got a pack for a murder mystery dinner actually. I was given it as like a Christmas or a birthday present years ago, and I haven't used it. And I should, because I love a good murder mystery. Oh, I recently picked up what's it called? It's called where does that bend? Yeah, about there. Picked up Cain's Jawbone, which is a really cool book. I don't know when it released, but it's the story behind it. I don't know if it's necessarily true or if it's just kind of a fable around it. But the idea of it is that it was a murder mystery that was written, but then the pages all got put out of order. And when they were put back together, out of order. And so you're never quite sure who has died or who was the murderer. And so the whole book is a big puzzle. So people pull the pages apart, and the idea is you're supposed to try to figure out what is the correct order of the pages. And apparently, quote unquote, only 3 people have ever solved it. Like, I don't know how they would regulate that, but that's the idea. So I have grabbed a copy of it. I have not attempted to read it or pull it apart yet, because I know that as soon as I do, just knowing who I am as a person, that I will fall down that rabbit hole and will not be able to think of anything else. So I'm waiting for when I maybe have like a week that's not too busy. It'll take me definitely more than a week, and I probably won't solve it, but it's very exciting, very cool prospect. In fact, it was the people who released it had a competition for a few months that you could submit your answer, and if you got it correct, there was like a prize or something, but it shut just literally like a few days before I picked the book up, I think, which is a bummer, but probably for the best, because then I would have tried to solve it. But yeah, very cool. A neat book. I also got this cool book ages ago. That what is it? It has a heap of words cut out of the pages, so you can see through to the pages below it. So then, whenever you turn a page, like it's a mixture of all the pages underneath it. It's very cool. And apparently kind of rare, so I was excited to find it. I can't remember what it's called, but I have it somewhere on my bookshelf. Pretty a neat find. Oh, this doesn't make sense here, does it? Oh, what's going on there? Yeah, that's... Oh, whoops, I fucked that up. Sorry, just realized. Whoopsie daisies. I'll go back and fix that at some point. What else? We'll put... maybe put, I don't know, because I could do like a, yeah, that's kind of fun. That doesn't make sense. Getting there, it's coming along. Oof, this isn't working. How am I gonna... Don't like that. I guess that'll do. I think I just need to fix up that shape on the actual drawing. That's fine. Sure. I just essentially need these lines to just follow the curvature of the ball to kind of help to indicate that it's a circle. Or a sphere, I mean. How are we going? I want some more lines and stuff on this guy. Maybe down here. We got another. There we go. Ooh, fun. Oh, is that a disparate? Nope, that's fine. Never mind, thought I beefed it for a second. Probably end up lowering the opacity on this layer, these janky line bits. to kind of make them blend in a touch more, but I think that might do for the moment. Something to these, like if there's little glowy lines on it or something. Just once again some more visual noise, yay! Like something like that. Or do we have something like that on these bits? These bits are more structural, so I don't know if they'd have something like this. I could have something. I'll make those little bits glowy. I don't know, I don't think I like those glowy lines. Having worked in refurbishing high-bypass jet turbine engines in the past, which very rarely include corrugated pipes, I'm slightly bothered by seeing those. But if you can make the lines you're doing on the joining surfaces of the centrifugal compressors, the fat vertical tubes to the main body look like polished spot welds, or a ring of joining belts around the flange, I'd be less distracted. I don't know, I kind of like how it looks. I know it's not accurate to anything. But I'm not trying to make it. I'm not necessarily doing it to make it visually representative of anything. I'm doing it to make visual distinction for these different parts. Because these were all long continuous parts, and these lines here help to indicate that there's a bend there and that there's a bend there. They mightn't serve a purpose in a realistic actual life design, but they serve a purpose in it as a visual design. So I like it, so I think I'm going to keep it. But I like the idea of polished weld spots, so I might try and put some of those in places. Right down here. What do you think of that? Maybe. No, these definitely need something. Maybe if I could, like, just do a few more of these. Not to mention, this guy's kind of steampunky. Steampunky more than more than realistic to real life. I like steampunk stuff. I think it's fun. Oh, no, that last one didn't work. But I like this. I think when I end up rendering it, I'm gonna make him like super like rusty and covered in oil and stuff like that. Like this guy's really been through it. I think that's fun. Or like even some like scorch marks and like even oh god, maybe I'd love to put like bullet marks on it and stuff, like scratches, but I don't know if they would show up because he's so big. There we go. I kind of like this. Maybe we'll just put. Oh, too close. These through here as if they're. Just to break it up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Then let's see the background. Whoa! Oh, I love how he's looking. I think that's fun. Yeah. I think I need these. I'm gonna put some lines on these bits. Just because, just to visually make it, I think it needs to be more busy. Just to kind of indicate that it's in a different section. Yeah. Yeah, I think that works better. Sweet, I think I might. It is one big old machine. Nice, I like him. I might do something with the army pipe bits, just to make them a bit more visually distinct. But I think I'm going to leave it for the moment. Ladders anywhere? Ladders would be cool. I like that idea. Yeah, what if all the grates are actually like windows? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think I'm gonna access hatches. Yeah, that'd be cool too. Absolutely. Yeah, I could put like a little ladder and an access hatch going down this way. Whoop, I deleted something. Whoops. Hang on, let me fix that. Where did he go? There. But I think I'm going to leave it for today because I have an appointment that I need to go to. Besides, we've been going for a good 2 hours, and that's generally what I like to aim for. Sweet! Oh my gosh, wait, let me save. We're saving. I might even work, we'll see how I go. I might work on it a little bit before the next one. But I reckon next time we'll see how I go. We could either probably work on the background next or start coloring it, which I think would be cool. I mean, I want to add maybe a few more details, but nice. But yeah, okay, cool. Thank you for joining me for the stream. Oh my goodness, my next one is going to be on Friday. I don't know, I'll be playing some kind of video game. I don't know which one yet, but we'll see. But thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you all in the next one, okay?